Welcome, welcome, welcome. We're so glad you're here. As usual, Amanda ordered a perfect fall day, so we're glad you're out here to enjoy it. Hey, on behalf of the team at 6 Meridian, my name is Margaret Decken, and I'm so thrilled to welcome you all back to our annual Botanica Ladies Luncheon. It is our best day of the year. We get to leave the fellas in charge of the office. If you see smoke coming from the northeast part of town, let us know. They burn the place down, but I think, it's in good hands, and we get to come out here and spend time with all of you. Because some of you are guests, and we're thrilled to have you here as guests, just a brief intro about 6 Meridian. We are an independent registered investment and advisory firm. We focus on wealth planning and investment advice for our clients. Oftentimes we're focusing and working on with 2 or 3 generations. A lot of the reason you see many ages of people appear is that we are fully equipped to take care of your family now and hopefully for many, many years to come. We're very focused on bringing expertise in the investment and wealth planning arena. So a lot of the people you see up here are certified financial planners, and we continue to add to our team lots of new faces since the last time we were here together. So I'm going to introduce, as I always do, introduce our team by a theme. And this theme this year is their favorite holiday tradition. Before I move on to that, I want to give a little summary of what the agenda looks like. Cocktails on the patio, how fun was that? Beautiful day for that. Then we'll have a day. As we always do, we combine a little bit of market and education with a fun event, usually featuring a local business. This year we have Andrew Shirley from Goldman Sachs, who will talk to us a little bit about the market. And thank you, Andrew, for your sponsorship of our event. And Adriene Rathbun, a local chef, cookbook author, and she also writes for the paper. She is going to talk about entertaining for the holidays. We're so glad to feature her and her local business with us today. We also thank our vendors Olive Tree, who's going to deliver a delicious lunch, Method Productions, events by Ashley. I don't know where Erin is, but she was trying to navigate the parking situation outside. We apologize for that. We were not aware that there were 2 other events, so hopefully you all didn't wear out your pretty new shoes by walking through the gravel on your way to the building. And Leaf Logic Tea. Okay, so to get to the introduction of our team members, Pam Smith, who is partner and advisor on our team. Pam's favorite family tradition is every Christmas Eve, they go to Red Rock for a family dinner. Sometimes there's 6, sometimes there's 12, it just depends, or 16, as many as happen to be in town. They enjoy adult beverages, great food, and most of all being with each other. The evening usually concludes at her house, sitting around the outdoor fire pit. On Christmas morning, her son Kyle, who's 29, and Kyle is like 6.5 feet tall, so don't picture a little boy as I tell this story. He's fully grown man. He texts her at 6 a.m. to know when he can come over and open gifts. She manages to tell him to put him off until 9, but he always shows up decked out in his Christmas PJs, and they have mimosas and breakfast and open the gifts. And no one cares about the gifts except for Kyle, a little boy in a man's body. Next up is Sarah Hampton, also a partner and advisor on that. And I know there's a picture of Sarah shooting guns above my head. Yes. And it says that there's a friendly sibling competition for target practice. I know Sarah and her siblings, and it's not friendly. No way, no how. But I also want to mention that since we were all together, Sarah has a new addition to her family, little Rhett. Yay. He is the cutest little thing ever. If he ever comes to my house, he's going home with a pony. Just saying. Next up is Rachel, an advisor on our team. One of Rachel's favorite holidays, pastimes is visiting Walter's Pumpkin Patch with the 2 cutest nieces. 3 cutest? 2 cutest. 2 cutest nieces ever. And they always enjoy the wagon ride to pick out pumpkins. Rachel has the largest family I've ever seen. Like, literally west of Mays, Rachel's related to everyone. So I don't know how these 2 little gals get to be the only 2 that go to the pumpkin patch, but they have a lot of fun. Next up is Jordan Swisher. Jordan is also new to our team since last we met. Jordan is a CPA and CFP and is an advisor on our team. There's a huge family. She's rivaling Rachel for the largest family. But her aunt lives in a beautiful farm outside of Andale. They and their extended family, over 35 of them, go over to the grandparents to see all the grandkids and great-grandkids in their costumes before everyone goes trick-or-treating. Everybody brings an appetizer and a drink, and it's one of her favorite days of the year. We're gonna have a contest to see who actually has the bigger family, whether it's Rachel or Jordan. So, not sure what the prize is, but we'll see. Next up is Stephanie, who is a valuable member of her service team. Stephanie and Denise both have been around for a long, long time. Favorite holiday tradition? Thanksgiving. And on Thanksgiving Day, it's gonna kill me to say this as a Chiefs fan, the Murphy family watches the Dallas Cowboys game in the afternoon. And they're all, because of Todd, her husband Todd's love of cowboys, they've all been merged into this cowboy pod. Then in the evening, they watch Christmas Vacation to kick off the season, which is a tradition that started in Stephanie's family 30 years ago. No matter where they are, there are always 2 family activities on the agenda. Also, since we were together, Stephanie has a new grandbaby, baby Austin. Can you tell how much she loves that little one? Denise Robinson. Denise is also a member of our service team. One of her favorite traditions they do is candy making with her husband's family. They all get together and bring candy or make some, and then they share. A few of the favorites are homemade caramels and marshmallows. Yum. I haven't seen any of that show at The Office. Just saying. They even tried to pull Taffy once, which I'm sure was a hoot. Everyone gets involved, from the little kids to adults, and they always have family game night as well. Next up is Lisa Kuhn. Lisa is a member of our service team. Not as much as a tradition, but on Christmas they get together with the older kids for dinner and gifts. They find time to set aside and finding time to set aside is more and more challenging as the kids have gotten older, but they manage to get together. Knowing Christmas evening is their time is very special to she and her husband. They used to spend all day making the meal, but last year Lisa catered it, and she thinks that's a new tradition going forward. I like it. Amanda Meyer. Amanda's our Director of Marketing and largely responsible for this event that you have here today and a lot of the other marketing materials that come from us. Her tradition is experiencing the magic of the holidays through her son Maddox's eyes. Maddox is also a Cowboys fan, but we're going to convert him any day now, being a Chiefs fan. The best is watching his surprise when he wakes up on Christmas morning to see the cookies, milk, and carrots for the reindeer that were nibbled on, and a special gift that awaits for him for Santa. Any tip as to what it is this year? Amy Denton. Amy is our Vice President and Director of Training and Operations. Amy looks like a very nice person, and she is a very nice person, but she has this weird obsession with all things gory and scary. I don't get it. It just doesn't go with that sweet little face. But anyway, her tradition is for Halloween and October. She grew up watching scary movies with her mom. So every year, she has to watch the original Halloween, complete with Michael Myers and Jamie Lee Curtis. Aren't they on like Halloween 12 or something? Jamie Lee Curtis has got to die one of these. I mean, somebody's got to die one of these days. Anyway, she also likes the Conjuring series. If you haven't watched it, don't, because it's weird and scary. She watches the Conjuring movie marathon the weekend of Halloween with no lights in her basement with snacks and wine, which is the only way you can get through the Conjuring. Amber Helms. Amber says probably her longest holiday family tradition is for Halloween. Every year we have chili, cinnamon rolls, and apple cider on Halloween as a way to warm up for a cold night of trick-or-treating. And now it's just the traditional Halloween meal. And yes, even on the not-so-cold Halloweens, we still have chili because it's tradition. Amber also has a new addition to her family, little Hudson. He is adorable. Tracy is our office manager, and she keeps us well supplied with drinks and snacks, so we love that, in addition to a lot of other things she does for us. For Christmas, they like to volunteer as a family by helping hand out coats, build food kits, and separate Christmas toys. Then they go home and they bake and they frost. Do the faces just say it all? Like, how much fun are they having? They bake and frost sugar cookies for family and friends, and last year they made ugly sweater cookies. This is obviously this is my husband and my mom, And our tradition growing up was always we had beef vegetable soup every Christmas Eve, and then we got to open one present before we went to midnight mass. So you want to make sure you open the right present, because if you open the socks, it was a long wait till midnight mass, right? You want to make sure you got a good present. So my husband and I, we spent every Christmas Eve and Christmas with my mom, and I called them Madge and Blanche. They have a very special relationship. I'm sure if she had to pick one of us, it would be that guy, not me. But I call them Madge and Blanche because they bicker and talk like a couple of little old ladies. So on this particular Christmas Eve, we had our beef vegetable soup, and I made them open these shirts, which I gave my mom one that says, "I'm a proud mother-in-law to a freaking awesome son-in-law." And my husband has a shirt that says, "I'm a proud son-in-law of a freaking awesome mother-in-law." Anyway, that was a fun Christmas for all of us. With that, this is the team at 6 Meridian who happily work to serve you each and every day, so give them a round of applause. And lunch is served, and we'll be back shortly.
So as all of you know, we are heading into the holiday season. The good news is things should look a little bit different this year than they did last year, in a good way. But since we're all a little bit out of practice, today we're going to help you get back into the swing of things. Our next guest is Adriene Rathbun. Adriene's a local lifestyle expert and author of the cookbook Social, Holidays and Happy Hours. She's going to be sharing holiday entertaining tips and advice on how to make each and every one of your guests feel welcome. Since 2009, Adriene has taught cooking classes out of her kitchen in their 1924 historic Mediterranean home, nestled into the heart of College Hill right here in Wichita, Kansas. Her passion for entertaining comes from her Lebanese heritage and from growing up in a family where nightly home-cooked meals were a ritual and a large extended family gathering was a weekly occurrence. Teaching cooking began as a dream, and also with a few pushes from a couple of her mother's friends, Marilyn and Donna. She would see these ladies at the gym, and they encouraged her to start her cooking classes. With a wonderful husband encouraging her and a little planning, and a why not see where this takes me attitude, she launched Social. Her zest for sharing her love of creating delicious, simple food and the excitement of trying new ventures has led her to a career in food styling for corporate photo shoots and writing a weekly column for the Wichita Eagle. Her most recent accomplishment was finishing her cookbook, Social, Holidays and Happy Hours. Adriene?
Thank you so much. Is this working? Is it on? We're good? Okay. Thank you all so much, ladies. It's been a really long time since I've been in a group of so many ladies. It's really kind of welcoming and humbling. So nice to be together. Thanks to 6 Meridian for inviting me today to talk a little bit about holiday entertaining and also my cookbooks. So these past 2 years have kind of left us all a little eager to connect. Most of us had really different lives during the pandemic than our normal daily lives. You know, some go to work, some don't. But you know, during this time, we were all staying put and staying at home. Some people found it a little bit of a relief to have an open social calendar, while others kind of felt it a little daunting to be stuck in their 4 walls. And then there are people who kind of felt a combination of the two. You know, the shutdown was maybe a little bit welcome to slow down life and reevaluate their priorities and what really truly mattered. And I kind of fall in the combination of the two. I don't know about you all. But thankfully, our cozy little patio in our home kept us sane during this time. We entertained in really small groups in our pod, and even in the really cold days, we'd bundle up and get our patio heater going and serve a little wine on the patio and just try to stay sane mentally and socially. So coincidentally, December 22 was when my cookbook launched. Was that horrible timing or was it ideal? I don't know. Most people were not dining out much at that point. So people that didn't previously cook much at home were having to cook. The restaurants were closed down for quite a while, and then other people decided it was a really great time to take up bread baking. I'm sure you probably remember that there was a shortage of flour, not as bad here in Wichita as other big cities. I remember mailing packets of yeast to a friend who lives in the Bay Area. She said, "There's no yeast anywhere." I said, "I got your back, I have plenty." My kitchen's always usually pretty well stocked, and it was the first time in a long time that my husband didn't complain about how much food we have, because he had plenty to eat. So anyway, here we are in the middle of a pandemic. Here comes my cookbook. It's like, ooh, launch. Not going to launch this the way I'd planned. I really kind of thought that I'd have this big party at my home and welcome everyone to come pick up their books, and it's going to be great, you know, but when you go on planning life is when life happens and things happen a little differently. So I didn't really get to celebrate that accomplishment in the way that I'd planned, but, you know, the world has plans and you just have to roll with it. So let's talk about holiday entertaining, and I want to ask you all, like, what makes for a great party in your opinion? So feel free to, like, holler out things. I'm super informal. There's nothing, you don't have to raise your hand. Just what makes a good party in your opinion? Good wine. I can drink to that. What else? Good food. Yes, I love to eat. Anything else? I can't hear. Good guess. Yes, that's very important. Any others? Music, yes, a very important key too, to kind of set the mood. We'll talk about that as we go. Okay, so starting with something to nibble on and a cocktail, those of you who like wine and or cocktails, is key when you're entertaining. I think when you have a complicated menu that you're serving, it's really good to give yourself grace and serve an appetizer or a starter that's really simple. A beautiful charcuterie board, even just some cheeses and nuts and olives and crackers. And if you arrange it in an artful way. So this is one featured in the cookbook, actually. So this was one I created for a photo shoot for the book. You maybe even saw it in the Wichita Eagle. It was featured in my column in the Eagle as well. Anyway, so it's a great way to start off an evening. It kind of takes a little pressure off of you as far as like cooking and preparing appetizers, because as lovely as it is to make, little bites and pieces, they're kind of labor intensive and they can get kind of expensive as well. So I prefer to kind of focus on the main event. So I love to set up, when I do appetizers, I love to set them up in a room other than the kitchen. Even though everyone loves to be in the kitchen where all the action is, oftentimes you're busy preparing or doing a couple last minute things. So it's nice to set up a station, whether it's in your living room, your dining room, or you found some other room in your home to set up, either appetizers there, or you can do some wine, set up your little cocktail station and your bar. I love doing signature cocktails when we entertain. I think it's a fun way to invite your guests in. Some people will partake, other people won't. It's okay, whatever they prefer. But it's just something, a little extra added touch that people enjoy. And forgive me, I don't even remember which cocktail this is. You'll have to look in the book. So there's just a couple little bites from a happy hour that I hosted. I love happy hour. I don't know about you all ladies, but it's like the most perfect time of day. You can get together, sit down, relax, enjoy someone's company. You don't have the pressure of cooking an entire meal for them, but you can catch up, and also it's earlier in the day, so I love that too. Then moving on, entertaining is hard work, but it's also joyful work. So nothing really is more special or intimate than inviting people into your home and showing them the way you live and showing them the way that you can entertain them and doing something special for them. So it's a really beautiful way to kind of give people a window into your life and share your talents with them, break bread with them, enjoy a glass of wine. It's much different than if you just say, hey, let's go grab reservations at Newport Grill, even though I love Newport. It welcomes people in a different way, and it's always enjoyed and appreciated. So how do we holiday entertain in style? This year is hopefully going to look a little different than last year. An important thing I always think is making the table beautiful. I love Beard's Floral is my favorite. So whether you want to get some floral decorations from them, or you are wanting a little lower budget, grab a pretty vase. I just threw that together in 5 minutes from a grocery store. Roses and other flowers quickly. So set your table, make it beautiful, put the flowers out, whatever you decide to do, it just helps kind of add a little ambiance, and always lighting, always candles. Doesn't matter if they're tall candlesticks, slow ones, whatever. Candles really add a lot to the table, even during the day. If it's a luncheon, candles are great. I love them. Let's see. So decorate your home for the occasion. And, obviously at the holidays, it means something much different than it does on a random fall day, even though these decorations are gorgeous. The other thing too, music is key just to set the mood. At the holidays, it makes it really simple. You can pick your favorite musical artist. I love Michael Bublé Holiday Station on Pandora or whatever. It plays a lot of great, just jazzy holiday songs, and it makes you happy. Next, what I want to talk about is who you're going to invite. You want to make sure you invite with purpose. During the holidays, normally, you have your family and maybe a few friends that you include in your celebrations. So that's kind of a normal list that you don't veer far from. But if you're having like a cocktail party or a happy hour, make sure when you're inviting that there's some sort of commonality, common thread through it, whether people know one another or don't. Maybe they have similar interests or hobbies, or maybe their husbands have similar jobs and you can relate to them on that level. Maybe they love dogs or gardening or whatever. It helps to kind of make sure that women have something in common, or women or guests, I should say. Sorry, I'm talking to mostly women. And Andrew. By the way, Andrew, you were excellent. Anyway, so it's really all about connecting. When you're bringing people together, you want to make sure that they have something common to connect with, and so you really need to think over who you're inviting to your party to make it successful. Then I think it's also really key in today's world to make sure that your guests don't have any dietary restrictions or preferences, because as we all know, raise your hand if you have someone in your family that has some sort of food allergy. Yeah, that's probably at least 20% of the crowd. So yeah, make sure you know that information going in. It doesn't mean you have to overhaul your entire menu, but just make sure that they have enough to eat. If you need to make a couple different sides so they can partake, and they don't have to, feel awkward, because there's nothing worse than when you get somewhere and you're like, ooh, I can't eat anything. Okay, once you have your guest list down, determine how formal your invitation will be. I don't even know. Here we go. Invite all the right people, and you're going to have a good time, because Bonnie's always fun at a party. I'm sure you all know that. So determine how formal your invitation will be. In today's world, oftentimes people will text and invite you to things. I think personally, I love a printed invitation. I know they can be archaic when it comes to today's entertaining world, but there's nothing prettier than getting a beautiful invite in the mail, handwritten to you. But I know that's not always reality when you're in a busy, fast-paced life, and so there's online services you can use on Minted, Paperless Post, etc., that send them via email. I personally don't care for those because a lot of email gets stuck in my junk folder and then I miss things. So I think you can also go on these online and make pretty little invitations that you can text out, which I think is great, because people tend to read their texts, and I always put regrets only, because let's be honest, most women, although I'm sure all of you all are fantastic at it, most people forget to RSVP. So if you tell them regrets, usually they'll let you know they're not coming. So when you're entertaining, and I'm sure all of you know this because I'm sure you've all hosted hundreds of events, plan ahead and prepare. Pick a theme for your party. Plan the menu at least a week out. Write out your grocery list several days in advance. I know I'm always running to multiple grocery stores to get specialty items for everything I need. And I usually call my butcher and let him know what cut of meat I want and how much I want of it, etc., because those types of supplies aren't always readily available, especially now. But they better have my prime rib come Christmas. It's in the book if you don't have a good prime rib recipe. Anyway, that's the way to invite. I think you can send a text, but if you're going to do it, I prefer, to make a pretty little graphic that has some sort of theme on it that ties in with the theme of your evening, just to get people excited. Everyone enjoys a pretty invitation. So, the great thing about, I ran into this question all the time from friends and from people in my cooking classes. They would say, I want to entertain, but I don't know how to put a menu together. what do I do? And I said, well, that's first of all why you come to classes, which I don't teach as much as I used to. But my book happens to be by menu. So it's seasonal and it's by menu. So if you are in the middle of October, you can just flip to the fall section and see what menu there is, and you can pluck it right out of here and get to work having fun, inviting your guests, and having a lovely gathering. So, one detail that we don't often talk about or even think about until sometimes last minute is to make sure your powder room is guest ready. That is really key. It is, you don't think about it, you don't talk about it. Make sure you've got plenty of hand soap and lotion and a fresh towel set out and that everything's neat and tidy. It's important to make sure that everything looks good and is clean. It's another detail that I always say people forget about is to make sure your dishwasher is empty before you start entertaining, because there's nothing worse when it's half full and you fill it and you're like, oh, where am I going to go with these? Then another key thing is when you serve your food, make sure it's artfully arranged. Forgive me, I just keep talking. Some more friends. There we go. So this was a really simple, this is September 9th's menu. And I just displayed it all on one platter because it looked prettier, tightly packed. And it's got flank steak, roasted potatoes, steamed artichokes, halved, and roasted asparagus. So make sure your food looks pretty. Whether you're doing a buffet because you've got a large crowd you're entertaining, or you're going to plate the food and serve it to people, which oftentimes usually is when you have the smaller crowd, just make sure it looks nice. Give it a little thought. Pull your platters a couple days in advance. Write your little Post-its so you know what goes where when it's time to go, and you're hollering at your husband like I always do, grab me that platter. He knows which one to grab. Let's see, setting the table ahead of time. It's important to make it look pretty. That doesn't mean you have to get out your finest china. Quite frankly, this is what I call my fake china, but you would never know. You just need a quick little charger, a pretty plate, some nice napkins, and beautiful glassware, pretty flowers, nice lighting. It really just makes a big difference. So I have friends who like to set their tables a week in advance for events. I'm not that organized. Someday, maybe in my next life. But I think a little pressure is good for me. I tend to work better that way. Whenever you do, it's just important to think about, your theme, maybe some colors that work well with the invitation, pair it together, make it look nice and special. Also, in addition to setting up the table ahead of time, that was the other one, sorry. In addition to setting the table ahead of time, set up your bar maybe a day or two in advance. I had to send this PowerPoint in a little early, so forgive my lack of order here. Pull your glassware, pull your mixers, get your bottles of wine set out. It kind of helps to have all these little details ready to go, so on your day of, you're not running around like a chicken with its head cut off, because I've been there and I've done that before. It's not as fun. You can always put on your little bar area after you've pulled your wine bottles and cocktail shaker and your glassware and everything, you can put some little fresh greens around it, maybe a little pepper berry. It just makes things look festive. If you have some of those cute little lights on the wire, you could make it even lit. Little tiny decorative details like that make a big difference. And before your guests step foot in your home, make sure there's something pretty to greet them. Obviously, my hydrangeas are not blooming at the holidays. I sure wish they were, but I wouldn't live in Kansas if that were the case. So have some sort of decor on your front walk, or lights, whatever it is. First impressions do matter. So I also think it's important to make sure you entertain throughout your home. When people come, nobody wants to sit at the dining room table for multiple hours. It can get kind of monotonous. I don't know about you, but I get a little wiggly after an hour or two. I want to get up and move around, and most people do. So it's nice to do maybe your cocktail hour in one room, your dinner in the dining room. Maybe you have dessert in the living room with coffee and an after dinner drink. Just give people a chance to really kind of utilize each room in your house and enjoy the beauty of each of them. So let's talk Thanksgiving. This holiday was my dad's favorite holiday, probably because it was centered around eating. He liked to eat, and it kind of runs in my family. And he also loved gravy and pie. So I love to cook Thanksgiving dinner. And for over a decade, I've been teaching pie classes, but we'll get to that in just a bit. And nothing puts you in this holiday spirit like pie class, but we'll talk about that in a bit. So here is my sweet potato roast and the chestnut wild rice dressing, which is excellent. You had some wild rice today in your chicken salad. Wasn't that delicious? So good. So these two have become staples at our Rathbun family Christmas. I make them every year, and everyone loves it. A little green bean casserole, just because my husband's son always wants it. And a pretty turkey. The roast turkey is in the recipe book too. So set your table beautifully. Once again, I did pull out the wedding china for this one, and the pretty crystal too. And it's always fun to have place settings. That way everyone kind of knows where to go. They don't have to figure it out as they're approaching the table. There's my husband serving up Thanksgiving salad, another great recipe that's in the book. Serving a little wine, getting ready for everyone to come. Just our daughter-in-law and my stepson and grandson at the table. And let's talk pies. So I would love to hear just holler out some of your favorite pie flavors. Anybody? Pumpkin. That's so funny. That's the pie I don't like is pumpkin. Anything else? Butterscotch. Ooh. What? Meringue? Lemon meringue. And pecan. I'm with you. I like pecan. I like chocolate pecan. That's my favorite. So good. Any others? Cherry. Oh, I love dark cherry. That's my favorite. Okay, so for years, over a decade, I've taught Thanksgiving pie class in my kitchen. And it's always the weekend before Thanksgiving, and it is so much fun. Sometimes I teach 3 classes over 2 days, which is just pure chaos, but it's a ton of fun, and we'll crank out like 45 pies in 3 classes. Anyway, it's the only hands-on class I've taught consistently through the years, and it's a blast. It really kind of kicks off the holiday spirit to have all these ladies, oftentimes women around my age and younger, who've never made a pie. They come in, I call them pie virgins, and they've never made a pie in their life, and they've told their mother-in-law they're bringing pie for Thanksgiving. So they come in with these wide eyes, and they're kind of scared, and I'm like, you got this. I'm going to help you. It's going to be okay. So we make our pies together. Right here is peeling and coring Granny Smith pies for dulce de leche apple pie, which is one of my favorites. I like to stack a pie really high. And I want something to fork into. I do not like pies that are like an inch thick. That doesn't even look like a pie to me. So stack it high, make it pretty. Buy some of those cute little punches from Williams-Sonoma. You will use them for years, and they make everything beautiful. You've got to vent your pie if it's a double crust pie anyway, and it just does it so beautifully for you, and it makes it look really artful. Anyway, it's a ton of fun. And it's really kind of a lost art that, there's some of the pie punches on a single crust pie. Pie making is a lost art, but it's kind of making a comeback, and I love it. I kind of took it on as my mission for a while. I'm like, I'm gonna teach women how to make pies, because no one ever taught me, so I had to teach myself. Okay, Christmas time. It is time to celebrate. We have 40 people at our house on Christmas Day. It's pure chaos of my mom's side of the family, the Farhoff family, and it's a ton of fun. But in normal Farhoff family fashion, nobody shows up on time. So we have to have lots of appetizers set out, because I might plan to serve my meal at 1:30, but oftentimes it's an hour later before I'm actually serving. So here's a cousin and I setting out appetizers. Here's my plate of grape leaves that I've rolled a week in advance and cooked, and everyone's ready to devour. If you've never had Lebanese grape leaves, you're missing out. Here's my husband, me, and my cousin-in-law after we've cut the prime rib, and it's our yearly tradition to take a silly photo. So even though you're entertaining, you're stressed, and you have a lot to do, make sure you take a little bit of time to take a photo and have a good time and enjoy your company. It's really important. Let's see. Here's the picture of the kitchen holiday chaos. You know how it goes. You try to put the appetizers elsewhere and all the drinks and everything to keep everyone out of the kitchen so you can finish the last minute preparations, but they can't help themselves. They want to be in where the action is. Oh, here's a little cocktail you can serve to your guests. This is a cranberry old fashioned featured in the book. few little details of Christmas decor. I love to decorate every single room in the main area of our home. You'll see throughout the book there's lots of photos of our home. This is a little pepper berry sprinkled on top of a light fixture in my breakfast room. Picture with my mom. One of our Christmas trees, one of our 4 Christmas trees. The dining room all set, except for I did realize, oops, the candlesticks have already been used up in this one. But anyway, I love to do for a centerpiece at Christmas time because we host so many events during the month of December, and I don't want to have to rebuy floral arrangements every single week of December. I have this gorgeous greenery garland that I put down the center, and I pop fresh pomegranates and fresh oranges in it to make it look a little bit more festive, and it takes care of everything for the whole holiday season. It's really simple and clearly very cost effective. Oh, there's my cousin Christy and her new baby. That was several years ago, but once again, take time to take the photos, soak in a moment. It's really important. I know when you're the hostess, it's a lot of pressure, because you've got to get that dinner out. You've got to make sure everybody's taken care of and fed and happy and all that. But it's important. Don't forget to thank Santa for your presents. If there are any this year, I don't know. Sounds like they may not be because that's supply chain, but if you need a cookbook or two, I have plenty over there to sell to you. It was a dinner party. Oh, there's a picture of my grandparents when they were young and thriving. That's where it all began. There's our Christmas tree. And the piano and the Christmas tree, because you got to keep the music going. We usually have a family jam session at the end of the day. Sometimes it's Christmas carols, sometimes it's not. My husband always gets on the piano, a couple guitars get out. It's pretty fun. Yearly tradition. So that's just the living room all decked out for the holidays. And another fun thing, you're probably not going to do it on Christmas because you're a little bit busy making a huge meal. But I love to make parting gifts for people. It's nice to give them a few maple sea salt pecans in a little cellophane bag to take home with them. You can just set them at the table like they've artfully done today with our little parting gifts. I make sugar cookies and wrap them in some pretty little twine, put those in a cello bag too. It's just a nice little touch. And if you don't have time to make your own, Cocoa Dolce will give you those cute little 2 boxes that have 2 chocolates in them. That makes for a great parting gift too. So it does not have to be homemade. Okay, then this is one of my favorites because after I've entertained in a huge way, I always give myself at least an entire day afterwards to do what I want to do. Make myself a waffle, sit in my robe, drink my coffee, maybe book a massage, sit down, relish, enjoy, and pat yourself on the back for a job well done. Because we know that it is joyous work to entertain, but it is also work. Thank you all very much. Appreciate it.